Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and I swear, it's like 2015 again. I said this in the beginning of my in-depth analysis for Wastelanders. It really feels like that. There's a little bit of Fallout hype in the air. Matty's a bit excited. We got people talking about Fallout, human NPCs, dialogue. It's a good time, man. It's a good time, despite everything else happening around us. But anyway, yes, I'm in the corner of your screen because I wanted to use my face a little bit more, be a little more interactive with you guys. But also, we are talking, as you'd expect, about Wastelanders. We're highlighting not only some of the new content coming in this expansion, but also what's happening in the end game. What happens after you finish the main quest of Wastelanders? We're going to be digging through a Bethesda Net article that they just posted as of Friday, April 10th. In that article, there's about 3+ minutes of brand new gameplay that we're going to be using to represent some of the new information we're talking about today. So with all of that in mind, do know that the article is linked in the description down below for you to check out for yourself. And let's get into it. Raider Daily Quest and Reputation. In our first clip, Ferret and Nate explore Crater and discuss the crashed space station's transformation into Raider HQ. Next, they take part in a new daily quest, the importance of communication, to earn some reputation with the Raiders. Now, during this gameplay, the developers are commentating over it. One noteworthy thing that is said is that there are 40 brand new locations coming to Fallout 76. And this is quite a big deal because these changes around the wasteland can really fill out the map. One thing that we could use to bring some context to that conversation is this map right here. Bethesda provided an update saying that in Wastelanders it's going to bring new faces, quests, enemies, items, and much more to Fallout 76. And with that in mind, places that you could previously build your camp will now be occupied by this new content. So you're going to have to move your camp. And so Bethesda put this map up, and I counted 30 icons here of where we could not place our camp, which is impressive because it really covers most of the map. And knowing that there is at least 10 more locations to explore on top of that is super exciting. Furthermore, they said they have filled out older locations, which we're actually seeing here in this daily quest. As they're collecting these parts for this daily quest, they're in one of the malls that has been in Fallout 76 since its very launch. Now, I don't think the quest is all that exciting, but then again, it is a daily, and dailies have never been all that exciting. It's almost like a check mark for literally any game. That's not to make excuses, but it's just something worth keeping in mind that Bethesda does plan to bring you back to old locations. As they talked more about the daily quest, they said there are 2 different daily missions for Crater. So if you're signed up with the Raiders, there are 2 different dailies. They alternate each day, and you'll be doing them a lot to boost your reputation. But then Baldwin, one of the developers who was on this live stream, says, quote, "It's hard to piss off the Raiders," end quote. I don't want to say I took issue with this, but I was like, they're Raiders, man. Like, I gotta play this just to know what kind of Raiders they have made, because now we've been told that no matter which way you go, the reputation of the faction can be uplifted no matter what. Now they're saying it's hard to piss them off, and I'm like, these are Raiders. They're like the most savage people in the wasteland, or at least they're supposed to be, and now all of a sudden they don't mind if I screw them over. Who cares, right? That kind of bugs me, and that's one of those things I'm gonna have to see how it plays out during the main story. The choices we can make, are they significant enough to warrant them shooting at me like I would imagine they are? Am I hyping it up too much in my head? Those questions have to be answered. The Raider who gives you the daily missions goes by the name of Ren, so this is someone you're going to want to keep your eye out for if you do decide to side with the Raiders. Furthermore, one thing I noticed is the reputation bar UI itself. It starts off with a question mark and ends with a check mark. And I thought this may have been where I went wrong, and I can't blame myself or others for thinking otherwise, but when we think of reputation, it's usually based off likes and dislikes. I mean, just think of New Vegas, right? And I'm not expecting that level of depth here in Fallout 76, don't get me wrong, but you do something like kill one of the Legion, right? Then your reputation with them would go down until eventually they're going to vilify you and attack you on sight. Makes sense, right? However, when you look at the question mark and then the check mark, it seems like the reputation bar is more so about how much they know you, right? Like, how well do they know you? That's the reputation, not how much do they like or dislike you. And it is a reputation system in that manner too, just not the reputation system that we're used to with Fallout. The developers during the stream do say that your reputation determines item availability of the vendors with your various factions. So the higher you are in the terms of reputation with certain factions will allow you to obtain the best items that they do sell. More noteworthy here, this is a pretty big change, right? Because we already have atoms, we have caps, and now we have this new thing called gold bullions. It's a new type of currency coming to Fallout 76. With Wastelanders, we're adding gold bullion as a new type of currency you'll be introduced to through the main story quests. You will be able to trade gold bullion to NPC vendors in exchange for a variety of plans to craft new weapons, armor, and other items. In this clip, Nate and Ferret show off some details about the system and meet one of the new vendors. Now, during this bit of the gameplay, the developers described it as, quote, endgame recipes and cool stuff, end quote. You'll see plans that not only craft the newest Wastelanders weapons, but also parts such as a sniper barrel for your plasma caster, reflex sights, a drum magazine for your Gauss pistol, and so on. So this is going to be mighty important for those who stick around in the long run, because the weapons that you loot off of enemies in Fallout 76 often aren't the best. It's the ones that you craft, and that's sort of been how it's been for Bethesda Game Studios games since, I'd say, Skyrim. And so it's good to know that you have a vendor and I guess a specific currency to go to make sure that you are guaranteed these drops, that you are good to go in acquiring these weapons, but hopefully they are more than generous with this new currency and that it doesn't require grinding, because afterwards they also say that once you finish the main quest, a lot of your activities will be around acquiring these. So one thing that I'm kind of afraid of with Wastelanders is that the bulk of the content, like the main story and the things we're doing, will actually be good. We've seen that in the previews already. What I'm worried about is afterwards, with the daily missions for reputation and the good items behind the reputation meter, with the gold bullions and the requirement to have another new currency in there. Why couldn't they just use caps, right? What's the point of that? Does it just highlight the excitement of Wastelanders? Is that what they're trying to do? Will it be monetized? It doesn't look that way, because there are plans and weapons in there, stuff that truly does benefit the player far beyond things we've talked about in the past, such as the awful Fallout First system. But yeah, I'm just a bit worried about the grind. I think it's good that there is an end game there and that they're thinking of longevity, but I also want to make sure that it's fair and there's good progression embedded in said end game. Wendigo Colossus, armed with new weapons, the fearless devs hunt down an elusive and tough new enemy, the Wendigo Colossus. Get up close and personal with this multi-headed beast in the clip below. So as we can see here, this is the Wendigo Colossus in action. It has an ability that terrifies you, and it sends you running away, essentially making you vulnerable to attack from other creatures in the wasteland for a short period of time. It also stops you from being able to fight back, and during the gameplay in this short 2 minutes that they had it rolling, I think this creature used it about 4 times, and the developers, while I'm not trying to sound like an elitist, they didn't seem that great at the game, and this was shown by, for example, one of them had the brand new Gauss shotgun, and it was cool to see it in action, but it didn't look like it was in the most talented hands. But when there were shots landed on this Wendigo Colossus, it didn't look that easy to kill. But once again, it could be because they weren't that great at their own game, from what I wagered. And I don't say that from an elitist standpoint, it's just sort of what you guys are seeing right now. I don't think it's the most top tier gameplay, but they are just trying to show things off. But one of the other cool abilities that this Wendigo Colossus has is the ability to call in other Wendigos. So you combine that with the Terrify ability that sends the Wastelanders running away, and then you have other spawns coming in attacking you, and it does seem like a formidable foe, which I like. It seems to have its own mechanics. It's a challenge. I just wonder how squishy it is, and if the developers were, I don't know, just that bad at their own game. Lastly is a veteran outfit. As a small token of our appreciation, we are gifting you all Fallout 76 veterans a unique outfit. The veteran outfit will be available to anyone who has logged into Fallout 76 since launch on November 14th, 2018 and prior to the Wastelands release. You won't need to do anything to claim your outfit. It'll be automatically added as a craftable item to your account and available to any of your characters at the armor workbenches. Look for this outfit to become craftable in the coming days. It may take a few days for yours to show up, but you should see it in your account by the end of April. Yeah, so I thought this was a nice gesture, you know, just to say, hey, thanks for sticking with us, and you have something to show by it. I always said that Bethesda should have embraced that, not behind a paywall, kind of like they did with the Riot armor, and seemingly how they plan on rotating more armor sets into the Fallout First program. I would have really liked to see just thank you gifts for being a part of a continuous online game that had a rocky start. So I'm glad they're taking that approach. Now you can show people like, hey, I was there when it was tough, and now Wastelanders is here, and maybe things will be good where there is a framework for Bethesda to work off of. But that's essentially all the information I have to show today and all of the new gameplay. So we have a new currency, we have 40 new locations. A lot of them are sort of already marked on a no camp map. We have this veteran outfit, we have the Wendigo Colossus. There's a lot of new things coming into Wastelanders, a lot to process, and it will ultimately change the game. But the main hope here is that maybe Bethesda will have a framework to move forward with that makes Fallout 76 into a much more respectable game. Only time will tell, but now I pass it off to you guys. As always, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of Wastelanders? Do you like what you've seen so far? Fire away. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Big thank you to all of the patrons who continue to support my content here, and I'll talk with all of you soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.